Ladies and gentlemen, this particular story, it bothers me for a lot of different reasons. It's like I say, I don't know if a lot of people know this about me, but I do have some Native American in my family. So shout out to my mom's side of the family. This story bothers me. I have a best friend that's also Native American. I've spent some time on a reservation, but like I said, we'll save that story for another day. With this particular story, there was a child, and it is so hard to describe this. This child went missing since 2019, and we're just now finding out what happened to this precious angel right here. That little baby that y'all see on my screen right there, her name is Mildred Old Cross, or excuse me, Old Crow. Let me put some respect on that baby's name. Mildred Old Crow. Her body was missing for more than a year and has been found on the Crow Indian Reservation. The Bighorn County Coroner has not officially released the identity of the person found on Wednesday, but we know her identity. Crow Chairman Frank White Clay wrote in a statement identifying Mildred as the person discovered on Wednesday that he hoped that she receives justice. Our heart aches for the family, and I lift them up in prayer. The entire community felt the loss when Mildred went missing, and we feel it again today. My hope is that we can find some closure, grieve together, and work to ensure that children are protected and supported on the Crow Reservation and beyond. We want justice for this child and for all the victims of this epidemic of people missing from reservations across the country. And I didn't even know that that was even a problem like that. Wow. Huh. Details surrounding Mildred's recovery are unclear, and calls to Bighorn County Sheriff's Office were not immediately returned. But anyway, a spokesperson with the FBI declined to comment and would not say if the agency was investigating this death. The Bureau of Indian Affairs did not respond to an email or phone call requesting additional info on Mildred's death or circumstances. Well, damn, it don't sound like nobody's trying to be helpful. Anyway, a relative of Mildred informed the BIA at Crow Agency in mid-November that they had not seen this child since July of 2018, according to the FBI. Family members had not seen this little girl, they claim, since 2018. How is that even possible? How? The FBI could not comment on where exactly the girl was staying with her guardian when she went missing in 2019. But two women were arrested, and let me see if I can get their faces back up on this screen. And I know that these two individuals don't look like women, but I guess you have to classify them as women because that's what they biologically are, even though that one on the right looks like she came straight out of Grand Theft Auto 5. And this other one over here, I don't know, just looked like some little fat boy. I don't know. She just looked weird. But nonetheless, two women were arrested in December in Billings in connection with this missing girl. Those individuals that y'all see on my screen right here, Veronica Tirza Dust. Dust is 34 years old, and yes, she looks dusty. And Rosine Lincoln Old Crow, shit, she looked like a, let me not do that. Rosine Lincoln Old Crow is 34 years old. Golly, boy, they done lived some hard lives. They don't look 34. They don't look 34 at all. They look every bit of 60. But both of them were charged in January in Crow Tribal Court with a misdemeanor charge of endangering the welfare of a child, which holds a maximum sentence. Get this. A maximum sentence of 6 months in jail and a $2,500 fine. They were charged in January in court with a misdemeanor charge of endangering the welfare of a child, which holds a maximum of not 6 years, not 6 generations, not 6 decades, 6 months. $6 months. And a $2,500 fine. Hashtag, where in the F are the parents? Where is the mother? Where is the biological father? I just find it hard to believe that they didn't give us any information about this story at all. No mother, no father. Was she in foster care? Were they the custodial parents because she was in like, why don't they at least give us basic information? You just give us a story about old Dusty, an old crow who looked like an old crow, and you don't tell us anything. I don't understand how that even makes sense. You're going to present a story and you don't tell us much of anything. But nonetheless, on December the 6th of 2020, just a few months ago, a formal petition was filed with the tribal court requesting a hearing because the two guardians had breached their fiduciary duty to the child. So apparently they were her caretakers. On February the 12th, the two were both charged with an additional count of custodial interference and remain in custody on a $5,000 bond, according to Crow tribal prosecutor David Sibley. $5,000. The two are scheduled to appear in court in April. So far, they got a $5,000 bond and facing 6 months in jail, but there's a dead 8-year-old girl that the family hasn't seen since 2018, and the girl went missing in 2019, and we're in 2021. It is unclear what the relationship is between Mildred and the two women, but Mildred had stayed at their residence according to court documents. Baby Mildred, was one of 18 indigenous people who have been missing in Montana for more than a year, according to data from the Montana Department of Justice. In Montana, Native Americans go missing at a rate disproportionately higher than non-natives. And one would have to ask, why are they going missing? Who is going missing? Is it only happening to children? Despite making up less than 7% of the population, indigenous people consistently account for more than a quarter of the state's missing persons cases. That's just stupid. That is a stupid rate. They said 7% of the population makes up of a quarter of the state's missing persons cases. A little more than half of the 53 missing indigenous people were aged 21 or younger, and of that, 9 are believed to be living with a non-custodial relative or went missing after custodial interference, according to the DOJ, Department of Justice. Per capita, Bighorn County had the highest numbers of missing people from 2017 to 2019, and it seems like this baby fell into that number. Bighorn County's rate was more than double that of Yellowstone County. Let me see if I have a little bit more information. A trial date in Crow Tribal Court is set for 2 women suspected of endangering the welfare of this little baby. Their court initially arraignment was on January the 11th. Their trial is scheduled for March of 2021, so next month in a few weeks, hopefully trial should get started. So we will continue to follow this story, and I think that's everything so far. Okay, wait a minute. Nope, I have more information. Y'all bear with me a moment. I got more information. Sibley said that the tribe issued warrants for the arrest of the two women on December 16th of 2020, a couple months ago, after they were summoned to tribal court, asked to produce Mildred, baby Mildred, right there, asked to produce her to prove of her well-being, and they failed to do so. The warrant states the two women were granted informal custodianship by the tribal court on or about March 14th of 2017. And again, you have to ask, how did the parents lose custody? Why did the parents lose custody? What happened? Both women were located and arrested in Bighorn County, and the Crow tribal prosecutor asked the state to extradite the defendants back to Crow Reservation to answer for the filed charges. I think that's everything so far. Let me make sure. The little girl's body was found Wednesday in a camper near Gary Owen. She was reported missing in November of 2020 by non-custodial relatives. Wow. In a camper. So I wonder whose camper, who did the camper belong to? I don't know yet. December 16th stated that they failed to produce the child nor any proof of life provided. Let me go ahead and give you guys the fair usage. Let's take a look at here what the news had to say. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. And I know somebody in the chat said you're amazed that nobody knows this. Apparently they must not be reporting it or talking about it, but I definitely did not know this. I'll be honest with you. I didn't know.
Now to court news. Almost 2 years after she was last seen, two women are facing charges in connection to the disappearance of 8-year-old Mildred Oldcrow. Veronica Dust and Rosine Lincoln Oldcrow both. Now to court news. Almost 2 years after she was last seen, two women are facing charges in connection to the disappearance of 8-year-old Mildred Oldcrow. Veronica Dust and Rosine Lincoln Oldcrow both appeared in Bighorn County District Court Tuesday on charges of endangering the welfare of a child. A missing endangered person advisory was issued for Mildred this past November. The last time she was seen was in March of 2019. The women were arrested last month in Billings as fugitives from justice on warrants by the Crow tribe. The warrants state Dust and Lincoln Oldcrow failed to produce the child, nor was any proof of life provided. The whereabouts of Mildred is still unknown to this day. During their arraignments on Tuesday, their bonds were set at $1,000, and both women posted bail Wednesday afternoon. They now have 3 days to appear in Crow Tribal Court. Any future arrests or new charges depend on the tribal court and investigation by the Bureau of Indian Affairs.
Well, Crow Tribal Chairman Frank Whiteclay confirms that the child's body on the Crow Reservation yesterday that was found is that of 8-year-old Mildred Oldcrow. A law enforcement source who asked not to be identified told Q2 that the body was recovered Wednesday from a camper near Gary Owen. An autopsy was being conducted today, but the county coroner has not yet released details. Mildred was last seen in March of 2019 when she was 6 years old. Now, two hardened women facing charges in connection to the disappearance of Mildred are now back behind bars, facing more charges. Tribal prosecutor David Sibley tells Q2 that Veronica Tizer Dust and Rosine Lincoln Oldcrow were each being held on a $5,000 cash bond tonight. Sibley recently filed an additional charge of custodial interference in that case against both women. Tirzah Dust and Lincoln Oldcrow were captured as fugitives from justice in Billings on December 23rd. This after the Crow tribe issued warrants for their arrest on December 16th that state they failed to produce the child, nor was any proof of life provided. Now, Tribal Chairman Frank Whiteclay issued that statement today. It says in part that the entire community felt the loss when Mildred went missing, and we feel it again today. My hope is that we can find closure, grieve together, and work to ensure that children are protected and supported on the Crow Reservation and beyond. We want justice for this child and for all of the victims of the epidemic of people missing from reservations across the country.
The FBI and the Bureau of Indian Affairs are asking for the public's help in finding a Montana girl who was last seen more than a year ago in March of 2019. The search for 8-year-old Mildred Alexis Old Crow of the Crow Indian Reservation started on November 19th when her non-custodial relatives reported they hadn't seen her since July of 2018. An investigation shows Mildred was last seen on the Crow Indian Reservation in March of 2019 in the care of her Crow Tribal Court-appointed guardian. Now, Mildred has brown hair, brown eyes, and is small in stature for her age. A missing endangered person advisory issued for her today. Anyone with information is asked to contact either the BIA law enforcement at Crow Agency or the FBI.
My name is Mildred Alexis Old Crow. I'm a Native American female and I went missing from Lodgegrass, Montana on March 18th, 2019. I weigh approximately 30 pounds. My height is estimated at 3 feet. My missing age is 7 years old. My current age is 8 years old. My eye color is brown. My hair color is brown. The circumstances involving my case include a missing endangered person advisory was issued by the Montana Department of Justice for me on November 25th, 2020. The dates and times of my disappearance are unclear and confusing. The search for me began on November of 2020 when my non-custodial relatives notified law enforcement. I have not been seen since the summer of 2018. However, further investigation revealed I was last seen on March of 2019 on the Crow Reservation in the care of my Crow Tribal appointed guardian. A joint missing persons investigation is being conducted by the BIA Missing Murdered Indigenous Person Cold Case Unit in Billings, the FBI, the Bighorn County Sheriff's Office, and the Billings Police Department. Anyone with information about me is asked to call the
30 pounds at 7 years old, and I think she was 8 years old.
BIA law enforcement at Crow Agency at 406-638-2631. Every single year, Native women, children, and men are trafficked nationwide. To report suspected human trafficking, call the U.S. Department of Homeland Security DHS tip line at 1-866-347-2423. If you are a victim and need help, call the National Human Trafficking Hotline at 1-888-373-788.
And to give my closing thoughts about this, I'm going to say this. I don't know. Matter of fact, and y'all know, I want y'all to know this. I always tell you guys, it doesn't mean that everybody that has neck tattoos are bad people, but I'm just saying, y'all notice that tattoo across her neck over there looking like a straight dude out of Compton, California. Rosine looking straight out of Compton, right? Look harder than the day is long. And I'm not sure what they did with that baby. And I'm going to be honest, I'm afraid to even fathom what they did to that little 8-year-old girl. She was missing for that long, since 2018. And why wouldn't the family at least ask for more investigation, cause up enough stir, say something? I just don't feel like they did enough. And then you'd have to ask, where's the biological mother? Where's the biological father? Why don't they have the kid? What happened there? How did they end up in these two fools' possession? How did this baby end up in these non-qualified parents' possession? This little girl might have been able to raise herself better than being in those people's possession. This is just sad. And this is what these children are up against. On these reservations, you are literally just out there like in the middle of nowhere. In most places. That don't mean every place, but in so many places, these reservations, I can at least speak for the ones I've been to, are out in the middle of nowhere. You feel like you're out there by yourself, and it's just like, for you to be in the hands, in the custody of two people who were doing who knows what. The fact that nobody made contact for that long, the fact that this little girl probably wasn't in school, and the fact that they found this baby in a camper, in some type of camper at the end of last year. It's just sickening to think about that. And what makes it even worse, nobody is being charged for murder. They're talking about child endangerment, 6 months in jail, $5,000 bail. To me, I don't understand how we don't put more of an emphasis. I just think that in America, it's one thing, like if you want to dispute what the legalities are between adults doing things to each other, maybe I could understand it a little bit more. But when it comes to these small babies, these small children, these fragile human beings, these beautiful individuals that just have a light about themselves that could grow up and become something great, you cannot tell me that we shouldn't have some type of special provision to make it to where we can charge people a hell of a lot more harshly when they are accused of abusing and hurting and murdering and causing the disappearance of our babies. Mildred Old Crow is probably not going to see justice. The family probably doesn't care. It doesn't seem like society cares. And the fact that they know that they have this unreal statistic that they are disproportionately disappearing at higher rates than the whole rest of their state. It's just ridiculous. A quarter of a 7% population is just, that's too high. It's too many. And it's just really sad. And like I say, I really just hope that people will open their minds and their hearts to make a change. If you see something, say something. That's a very simple thing that somebody could have done to save this baby's life. They could have definitely have spoken up. Adults know that they could have went somewhere. They could have reached out. They could have got resources. They could have done something, as opposed to leaving this baby in the hands of people who just did not care. And I hope that they get more than the fullest extent of the law put on them. I hope they get made examples out of, but I just don't think it's going to happen. So let me say this to baby Mildred, young princess, young Native Indian princess, R.I.P. That's so sad, man. Beautiful little girl. I'm DJ Just J. We're the AFC. We're going to continue to give Mildred and all of our babies a voice. We want to give children respect. The respect will reciprocate, but we have to start respecting our children. Give them respect. Don't force anybody to respect you. Give our babies respect, and the respect will reciprocate, okay? From my heart to yours, I love you guys. And have a blessed day. Have a blessed night. And we will see you guys as we present our next set of stories, because we got so much more work to do, okay? Talk to you guys later. Peace.